Hey everyone, Sheldon here, and this is part 4 of the Paper Dual Extended Hidden Blade tutorial, so make sure you guys click on the link in the description to find all of these blueprints. So, just gonna grab this template right here. So this is a linear gear stick right here, and basically I'm just gonna cut out the template layer and glue it onto a piece of hardened paper. I'm just gluing this down using some super glue so I don't have to wait for it to dry. So just working my way down. Now I'm just going to start cutting this out, and there really is no right way to do this. It's a pretty tedious part, so definitely just take your time. Alright, so that's what it looks like after cutting it out, and obviously I need to do some detailed work to it just to make it more smooth and stuff, but it actually needs to be 0.100 thick, so I'm just going to cut out another one and glue it on top, and I'm just going to do that really quick and I'll show you guys what it looks like. Alright, so it probably doesn't look very much different, but basically I just added another few layers to this to get it to the right thickness, which, like I already said, is 0.100 thick. And since I need 2 of these linear gear sticks, I just went ahead and made another one off camera just to save some time. And you really want to take your time with these. Just get them as accurate as you can, because if they're off even slightly, it's really not going to work very well. And the next thing you're going to need is this, and this one isn't the right thickness yet. I'm just going to show you guys the process of cutting it out. It's the same principle as these. You just glue it onto a piece of hardened paper and just cut it out as accurately as possible. So I'm just gluing the template to a piece of hardened paper right here. So it's pretty simple. And now the tedious process of cutting this out. Alright, there it is. So now I can just line them up and glue them together with some super glue. So this needs to be the same thickness as the gear sticks. Okay, so now the gear is the same thickness as the gear sticks, and I drilled a hole straight through the center of the gear and also right there. So the next thing we're going to do is glue a post right there. That way this gear will be able to stay in the same place. It'll still be able to rotate, but it won't be able to go that way or that way. I'm going to use a Q-tip to make this post. So basically I'm just going to wrap some paper around it, and it should be strong enough for what it's for. I'm going to use this strip of paper right here, which is 0.170 wide. So I'm just going to wrap it around here using super glue. Alright, here it is, as you can see. So basically I'm just going to glue it in place right there, and I'm going to make sure the top of it is flush with the top of the walls. Alright, there it is. It's glued in place, as you can see. So obviously I need to trim it down a little bit to make it flush with these walls, but I'm just going to put this together so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. So that goes right there, and then one gear stick goes on this side like that, and then the other one goes on this side just like that. And as you can see, if I push this gear stick that direction, this one will go that direction. So it's pretty simple how it works. I just gotta polish them up a little bit more and the whole thing will be much more smooth. So now I'm just gonna trim off the excess. That's what it looks like when the post is cut down to the right height. So now I just need to glue a square piece right here, which I have that piece made. Basically it's just a little stack of paper, and you should be able to see how big it needs to be on the blueprint. But basically it's 0.150 by 0.150, and then the height is just the same height as the walls. That's what it looks like after gluing it on there. And you can see this one was already on there. I did that earlier. But basically it just prevents the gear sticks from over traveling. You can see that both gear sticks hit the square pieces at the exact same time. Now the next piece we're going to need is this little rounded piece toward the bottom. So basically what I did is just cut out a template layer of this shape and just glued it to some 16 layer pieces and just stacked them up till I got this shape right here. And it needs to be the same height as the walls. It's going to go right here, something like that, but I need to do a couple things to it first in order to make it possible for a rubber band to hook on there and not slip off. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is just cut along this line right here a little bit and just cut down and over like that, so it's going to be kind of like an L shape. Doing that will make it easier for a rubber band to hook onto this piece. Alright, so that's what it looks like after cutting that piece out, and you guys are going to see how it works in just a little bit. But basically right now I have to cut off a few layers of paper at an angle toward the top right here, and that's just going to reduce friction. Alright, there you go. So that's what it looks like. It has that little angle on there and also that little cutout right there. Alright, now I'm just going to glue it right here with the step side on the bottom. Alright, there it is. You can see it's glued on there now, and I also went ahead and drilled a hole straight through there and the base plate right here and glued a reinforcement pin inside there. And that reinforcement pin makes it a lot stronger, so I'm able to take a rubber band and just hook it on there and pull on it, and it doesn't just snap right off. Alright, so now we're going to start working on the next component, which you can see right here. This is the template. I just cut it out, and basically I'm just going to glue it to an 8-layer piece. Now I'm just going to cut all around the outside edge because that's kind of like the base of this entire piece. I also have to cut out kind of like a gap right here, which will allow clearance for this part right there. So basically I just have to follow this line going down to the end, and then this line right here down like that. So I'm just going to cut out that shape. Alright, you can see the gap is cut out now, and I'm able to just put it here where it's supposed to go, and that piece right there that the rubber band hooks onto doesn't interfere with the movement of this piece. Now I have these other 3 pieces here which are 18 layers thick, and basically I'm just going to glue them to this original base piece, which will give me kind of the final shape for this entire component. So that's somewhat what it's going to look like. So now I'm just going to glue these pieces in place with some super glue. Alright, so I went ahead and drilled the hole right there in the front, and you guys are going to see what the purpose of that is in just a little bit. But I also went ahead and made these components. So these pieces are actually really simple to make. They're both on the blueprint, but basically they're both 16-layer pieces, and this one has two little cutouts right there, which are pretty important when you assemble this together. So that piece goes right there. This piece slides in this little channel right there. So this small piece right there is going to have constant spring tension pushing it that way. So it's going to be pushing on this piece. And you can see the function of these two components as long as I'm applying pressure to this piece. So as this one moves left to right, this small piece is just going to ramp itself over out of that notch that it's currently in and then into the other one like that. So it's pretty simple, and you'll see more in depth about this once I actually get the spring tension to push that piece forward. Alright, so if you look closely at this component minus these pieces, there's a little groove right there, and it goes all the way across like that. And that groove is actually going to have a small section of a rubber band glued across it like that. So I'm just gluing it across like this. And now I'm just going to cut off the excess. And now I can take this piece and put it right there, and then just take a little bit of super glue and apply it to the back area of this. That way the rubber band sticks to it. Alright, so now, as you can see, that functions correctly. So I'm able to push it from side to side, and this piece continuously wants to lock into this piece. So it's pretty simple, and I'm just holding this piece over it because it's kind of representing the top cover, which is going to keep all of these components down. Alright, now I'm just adding this front pin right here, which is going to be glued inside that hole. So I have a nail right here, and I just wrapped one layer of paper around it, and basically it's just going to go in there like that. You can see on the bottom of this entire component, the pin is actually higher than this surface right here. So that pin is actually going to ride in this cutout right here. And it's going to look something like this when it's in here. So that pin is just going to ride in that channel, which will prevent this component from moving side to side too much. You can also see I glued this pin right there, and basically I just took a section of a nail and wrapped some paper around the top area of it so the rubber band wouldn't be able to slip off. So basically it's the exact same method I used for the sliding components. You can see the bottom of the pin right there. It goes all the way through this component, so I just filed off the excess and just glued it in place. So it's a pretty strong way of making this piece. Alright, so now I'm just going to cut off the rest of this. That way it's just that part right there on the bottom. And now I'm just filing off the excess. Alright, there it is. So now I'm just going to put this in here so you guys can see how it works. I just got to stretch this rubber band over to this piece right here, like that. So if I push this piece forward, you can see it wants to go back to its original position, which is toward the bottom. So that piece right there hooks onto that piece on the gear stick, which pushes it up like that. And when it returns down to its original position, that ramp surface on the bottom of the gear stick pushes this piece over to that side, like that. And now since that piece is pushed over to this side, the overhang is able to contact that portion of the gear stick and push it up, which in turn pushes this one down. So I'll show you really quick. Just like that. And then when this entire component moves down, it's just going to do the same thing it did on the other side. So that ramp surface is going to push this piece over to that side. just like that. And then it's able to push on that gear stick again. And the process continues. And if I put something on top of it like this, it works better, which makes sense because the top cover is going to serve this purpose. So with something clear like this though, you can see how everything moves. And it works a lot more reliably if there's a top cover on it. All right, now I'm just gonna glue one last piece to this component, which will finish it off. I'm just going to take this 16 layer piece right here and glue it over the top just like that. Alright, that's it for part 4, and I'll see you guys in part 5.